I'm Dustin Baker. I'm a small business owner, SBA lending professional, and a strong believer in the power of entrepreneurialism to bring the best out in our communities. 2020 was tough, but I believe we're resilient. So I'm traveling the country, talking to small businesses and the SBA lenders who help them succeed in order to prove it. We're on a mission to build community through shared story. No airports for me. This is my chariot. The road is calling. We're gonna do some fun stuff, and you really need to come watch it because it's gonna be amazing and all the cool kids are doing it. So join me on the SBA Roadshow. We're headed to meet with Greg Pitner, a BDO in Cincinnati, and we saw Greg a little bit at the manufacturing facility metalworking group. Greg is kind enough to let me be an hour and a half late because we are trying to figure out how to get all of our footage from this trip off of the cameras and onto an external hard drive, and figuring out backup options so we can capture this conversation. This is what happens when you send an SBA consultant out on the road to take a week and a half worth of video. But we're gonna make it work. Greg will be there in a few minutes. 7 minutes later than the hour and a half late we told you we're gonna be. Love you, man. I owe you a bottle of something nice. Peace.
I'm Greg Pitner, and I'm the SBA guy in Cincinnati.
Greg, thanks for joining me for this episode of the Roadshow. It's funny to say that. We've known each other for a while. Why don't you tell the people who you are, who you work for, what you do in this industry?
Well, I'm Greg Pitner. I'm a senior BDO or business development officer. I like to think I'm the SBA guy here in Cincinnati.
A lot of people took an unusual path to kind of find their way to the SBA industry, but yours is pretty circuitous. So why don't you start us with what life looks like for you when you sort of leave college and where you wind up and how you found your way to the financial markets to begin with and then kind of to SBA later on. Give us the Reader's Digest condensed version, but there's a lot of ground to cover there. Tell us how you got here.
DePaul University, Maui, Hawaii, Wall Street, my own shop, and then meeting George at the old Quadrant and working through you, getting dragged into SBA lending and finding out that I'm reasonably proficient at it and that I enjoy it a lot. Well, I think the big transition was after leaving the big firms and operating on my own or with a small consortium of more independent finance groups. I found myself actually running manufacturing companies that we had bought, almost like a mini private equity group, and it gave me some real life experience with who would become my typical borrowers here in the SBA space, and having that experience sitting on the borrower side of the table, whether it was in borrowing or other kinds of capital activities, I think gives me a unique perspective when I'm working with a firm like Metalworking Group we saw yesterday. I think I have an understanding of the concerns, the worries, and the thought processes that business owners in the manufacturing space especially are going through when they're going through a financing situation. I think I use SBA lending a little differently than a lot of lenders. Not that it's right or wrong, it's just a little different. Oftentimes what I see is an opportunity to use the flexibility of the SBA, especially the 7A loan program, to enhance structural situations. Got a great company doing plenty of business, but to access the level of capital they need to grow and go forward, on a conventional basis, maybe cash flow gets calculated a little thin. Or maybe they'd qualify, but that's it's requiring more principal payments in the loan structure than the owner's comfortable with, where he can make use of that capital in-house so much more efficiently. And so by being able to show longer terms, lower equity or down payment requirements, leaves that capital in the hands of my borrower, where it's used usually much more efficiently to facilitate the growth and objectives of that owner.
You jumped on a train as we were coming out of the recession, and the SBA was on the tip of the spear. Great time to kind of get involved in the business. And you do a fair amount of deals with local businesses. You can get in a car, most of it, isn't it? You can go see that deal, you meet the borrower. These aren't deals spread all over the country, so you're intimately acquainted with these borrowers.
Yeah, I'd say 50% of my business is here locally.
Okay.
A lot of industrial real estate based transactions, though those are fewer given the lack of inventory going on these days, but that'll change.
Yeah.
Built deep relationships here in the community, with the real estate brokers, with the bankers, with people who understand what I can bring to the table for their clients. And then the other half of the business comes from the more traditional, some loan brokers, some marketing, and so I see stuff all over the country.
Yeah. What happened to your core business when the pandemic hit and PPP comes in? Walk me through the tumult of that from your perspective.
Well, I know a lot of SBA business development officers spend the vast majority of their time in front of their computer or on the phone. I'm the opposite. I had an old colleague who used to joke, there are 15 appointment opportunities a week, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You should be filling every one of them. I was out in front of people a lot. I much prefer that to sitting in front of the computer and trying to wade through a myriad of so-so deals. And so it's forced me to get more comfortable with the other manner of doing business, and it's certainly all the information's easily movable, and I can receive it. But I miss walking the plant floor and spending the time with a business owner because there's something you gain hearing about why he really believes in his company, believes in new markets that he's going after and new opportunities that just doesn't come through when you're just receiving a bunch of information from his accountant.
We have a bit of a checkered history. A little over a year ago, you were with me when something exciting happened. You should tell the story. I want you to tell the story, and then I've got something special for our time together before we wrap things up.
Before I tell the story, I tried to find an Evel Knievel motorcycle helmet to bring you for today, but
COVID.
It
was COVID. All the Evel Knievel helmets.
So we were in Dallas, and we were shifting from one venue to another. And I forget the name of the place, but there's this incredible bar that serves about 1,000 different scotches, and that's where we were headed.
The Mitchell. Yeah.
You're correct. That's where we were headed.
The Mitchell.
And you, I believe, came up with the brilliant idea that we should take some of those rental scooters for the ride instead of an Uber.
Because we were waiting for those hotel shuttles.
That's right. The shuttles were slow. Ubers weren't around. It was a busy night, and the scooters were right there by the door. And I thought that sounded like a swell idea. And so I left the parking lot first with you behind me, and I passed. There was a big, one of those steel construction plates they put down when there's a hole in the ground, and I hollered back, "Don't hit the construction plate!" And I scooter along. And then I hear, oh no. And by the time I got back to him, you were there and your arm was this way and there was a bone sticking out. and the onlooker's like, wow, that looks like it hurts. And I believe Chuck asked me if we should call an ambulance, and I said, yes, we should definitely call an ambulance immediately. So it's my understanding we're going to recreate that scene.
I have some. First of all, I need to show the camera. I'll show you. I don't think you've seen that.
I haven't seen any scars.
Yeah, this is what I earned that night.
Very nice.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
It's impressive.
I'd like to sign it.
Maybe we'll visit a tattoo parlor. It'll make a great.
If you will get a tattoo of my name on your shoulder, that would really make my day.
I'll think about that. I will think about that while the bridesmaids train walks behind us here. So I have something that I'm gonna share with you. All right, so I have two things. One, I'm gonna show you the Christmas present that my kids purchased for me. So I had two surgeries, one to put a steel plate in and another one to take it back out 3 months later. So this is what my kids got me for Christmas. I'm gonna wear this on our ride today. You see, you like that?
I like that a lot. The resemblance is uncanny.
Thank you. And the other thing that I have is a GoPro vest, because we need to document this so people will know that we really did it.
So you know, I do a lot of stupid stuff on skis and on sailboats. I've got an opinion about when the GoPros are on that people tend to up the level of stupidity for the camera. So I really appreciate you bringing these with the ice on the streets, and this should be awfully sporty.
It's mostly, the sand trucks have been out. It's gonna be fun.
Nobody's ever wiped one of those scooters out on sand.
What could happen? What could happen? I think we know what could happen. But what are the odds it's going to happen twice? So I think thank you for joining me on the Roadshow. And
I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
That I'm able to say that. We'll see. All right. Well, it's time to embark, man. Thanks for doing this.
My pleasure.
And, let's go get on the scooter.
Sounds good. Start riding.
You really ought to wear a helmet.
That's the rough pavement. Watch the hole. There's a hole. Don't hit it. Hey, there's a steel plate in the road. This thing sucks. Let's leave him in my ride. That's enough.
We are leaving Cincinnati. We're on our way to Chicago to talk with longtime friend Bruce Lammers. This is a washed Ethiopian coffee from Quill's Coffee. It snows a lot in Illinois, apparently.